Honestly, y'all, I knew there was more to this story and I knew we would hear more to this story, but I was kind of counting on it being closer to when X-Men 97 season 2 premiered. I didn't expect for us to start getting more information about Beau DeMayo being stripped of his season 2 credits. He can't be mentioned in the credits now. I didn't think we would be getting more information about that now, but here we are. Okay, so let's get to it. So Beau DeMayo, who we all know is the original showrunner of X-Men 97, which is probably one of the best Marvel projects to come out over the last couple of years. We can almost unilaterally agree upon that, right? Has come out with a tweet or whatever we calling them things on X now. He's come out with a post on X that is basically saying that Disney stripped him of his season 2 credits for X-Men 97 because of some X-Men fan art that he posted on Instagram for Gay Pride in June. And to be clear, this isn't about why he was originally fired. At least it didn't start off that way. It is why he was stripped of his name being in the credits for X-Men 97 season 2. So here's the tweet, just in case you guys hadn't seen it. Here's the tweet. And it reads, "Firstly, I'm so grateful to have worked on X-Men 97, collaborating with some amazingly talented folks. Creating this revival was a dream come true, and the support fans have shown is so touching. However, I felt it pressing for me to speak up in the wake of leaving the show." He goes on to say, "Above is X-Men fan art I posted on Instagram for Gay Pride in June. On June 13th, Marvel sent a letter notifying me that they'd stripped my season 2 credits due to the post. Sadly, this is the latest in troubling pattern I suffered through while working on X-Men 97 and Blade. I'll have more to say soon, but must take a step back from social media to find a safer space for me to be out, proud, and nerdy. Stay tuned." In essence, he's saying that he was stripped of his season 2 credits because of a gay pride post. And that is troubling. It's troubling because, number one, if true, Disney slash Marvel is always hyping up their support of the LGBTQ plus community. So if you are hyping your support up publicly and you are privately doing stuff like that, that's a huge issue. But the other part is if it's not true, if this was just another symptom of something that Beau DeMayo did, then why is Beau DeMayo the one bringing this out? Because if I were him and the way he's framing it is not true, I would be worried that I'm about to get chewed up in the machine. Because y'all know Disney is a machine. And Disney has responded. But before we get into Disney's response, let's go back to the original controversy. The original controversy came out like 1 week before X-Men 97 premiered in March 2024. That was when DeMayo was suddenly removed from the project. And we are like, that don't look good. And this is before. This is all of us thinking before X-Men 97 came out. I'm starting to think it's going to be a piece of shit because you don't remove the showrunner 1 week before this series premieres. During that time, Brad Winderbaum, who was the head of streaming television and animation over there at Marvel Studios, he described the situation as just we parted ways when people were asking about why Beau DeMayo had left the series. Beau DeMayo himself was saying very little. And you know, non-disclosures, there could be a million reasons why Beau DeMayo was not addressing the situation directly during the run up to X-Men 97 coming out, and even in his comments after the series premiered, because he did break his silence in April when he got on X and discussed his vision for the show. He didn't address anything about the reasons for his departure. And still to this day, we don't explicitly have a comment from either side about the exact reasoning why Beau DeMayo left the project. What's up? Editing Tosh here. While I was editing this, some new rumors have started to surface on X. And look, I can't confirm the validity of these rumors. This right now is to be taken with a huge, huge grain of salt because there is no real big source behind it. And I'm waiting on a really big source to come out and back this. But it is saying that Beau DeMayo allegedly sent nude photos of himself in sexually suggestive hero poses to several young male staffers working on X-Men 97, saying they could be used as quote unquote inspiration. He also allegedly groped an assistant multiple times and emotionally, physically was abusive to other staffers. Again, I do not know that this is 100% what happened, but once Beau DeMayo started coming out with his quote unquote side of the story, these leaks start happening. And I would not be shocked or surprised if some of the people working on the production or if Disney themselves was providing these links to kind of shape this narrative in their direction. I will be watching with much interest to see how this thing continues. All right, let's get back to the original video. But in a roundabout way, Marvel has kind of told us their side of the story. And this is after Beau DeMayo took to X and shared his side of the story. Marvel Studios then came out and countered that claim. Of course, they're going to counter it, though. They say that DeMayo was terminated in March 2024 following an internal investigation due to egregious findings. Then it also went on to say that Beau DeMayo breached the termination agreement multiple times, leading to his removal from the season 2 credits. I'm going to get back around to what I think that means. Then, after Marvel made their statement, a little birdie went out there and whispered in some folks' ears saying, hey, it was due to like gross, egregious sexual misconduct. That's why Beau DeMayo got fired. And this was after a whole investigation that Marvel slash Disney did into these accusations against Beau DeMayo. They found, yeah, he was egregious sexual misconduct. So, believe who you believe. I'm going to tell you what I think, but I don't have any intimate knowledge from either side about what's true. You know, I got an opinion, though. You know, I got an opinion. So here is my opinion. I believe, and this is Tasha, you don't have to agree. As a matter of fact, if you don't, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. I believe that there was some type of investigation over some type of issue during this production. I believe that at that time, Disney and Beau DeMayo parted ways, and that should have been the end of it. But then one of the clauses, probably, this is me allegedly, this is just me speculating. One of the clauses in the termination agreement must have been for him to not speak on any X-Men or Marvel project while they were hammering out whatever agreement they were making. Beau DeMayo likely, because I got to keep using these words because I don't know. This is just what I think. Beau DeMayo likely breached that agreement when he came out and was talking about X-Men 97. And that's free publicity. And everybody was receiving it well. So Disney would be crazy to outwardly say anything to Beau DeMayo. They probably privately told him, hey, you're not supposed to be speaking. on the show, sending little letters and little letters from attorneys. My attorney is going to get to your attorney. You ain't supposed to be speaking on this show. I think that the last straw for Disney was probably the post in Pride Month. And it had nothing to do with it being Pride Month. It had everything to do with Beau DeMayo continuing to use the X-Men in his posts. This is my belief. You ain't got to agree with me. He used the X-Men in his post again, and it was like, look, we've warned you. Again, this is all my thinking. We've warned you several times. Now we're removing your name from the credits. Is that fair? Is it fair for them to do that? It's their IP. They can do what they want. And that's Beau DeMayo's Twitter feed, X feed, whatever feed. He can do what he wants, but there are consequences to everything. So do what you want as long as you can live with the consequences. And now I think Beau DeMayo is realizing that Beau DeMayo is realizing that he didn't want to live with these consequences. So now he gets out ahead of Marvel, ahead of X-Men 97 season 2, and he puts his story out. And his story is to garner the public sympathy. He wants all of us to get behind him. And the best way to do that is to say that he was discriminated against. Except he's hardly the only gay person who is a creative at Disney. This is not to say that I'm 100% sure that Disney didn't do what he's claiming that they did, because he said he got some more truth to tell. He just, he needs to step back for a moment, but he's going to tell some more truth. So I'll be waiting for the more truth. But right now, I'm thinking, if this were the truth, if this really happened the way Beau DeMayo said it happened, I would have said something a whole hell of a lot sooner. I would not be waiting until 6 to 8 months later to start talking about how I was wronged, especially when the public is going to have your back. If it was an identity thing, if it's because you were black, if it's because you were gay, if it's because you were a man, if it's any of those things, the public is going to get behind you and rah, 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 and Disney is going to have some splaining to do. But because you waited, because you seemed like you took a minute to craft your story, I don't believe you. You need more people. And again, I'm not saying Disney is perfect. They do some effed up stuff. But I'm saying this time, I need to wait until we have more information, because it's just not passing the smell test for me. The story sounds suspect coming from Beau DeMayo. And because, going back to Disney being a machine, the machine knows what it can do legally. And the machine also knows that if we're going to do something questionable, we better have a whole lot of law that will back up our questionable decision. That's where I fall on this whole thing. You tell me what you think down in the comments below. I will be looking forward to hearing your thoughts. With all that being said, I got nothing else. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.